Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Born on this date in 1893, novelist and World War I veteran William March of Mobile. And in 1954, U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville of Camden, Arkansas. Also, the United States Air Force became a separate branch of the military 78 years ago today, on September 18th, 1947. Today we have a medical helicopter taking gunfire, Birmingham targeting dilapidated property, and hockey returning to Mobile. I'm Mike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Hey, Ike, Birmingham listener here. Just curious about your Alabama poll. You said that they released the survey on October 24th to 26th. Was that from last year, or was there a mistake in the month? Anyways, thanks so much for what you do. We enjoy listening. Have a great day.
I just wondered after your podcast today, which is Tuesday the 16th, I think, if people know about an organization called Braver Angels. There's a Wikipedia page that will fill it all in if you're interested in depolarizing our political climate. Good luck.
Yes, the recent Alabama poll was from the August that just happened. Now, I'm glad somebody's keeping up with what month it is. Mea culpa on that one from me. And I don't know much about Braver Angels, but always love hearing that somebody out there wants a little decency in politics. We know how to be civil, but still not back down from what we believe. Now, in that spirit, leave a recording of your Alabama hot take at 205-304-1814. Well, the Federal Reserve cut the benchmark interest rate on Wednesday a quarter point to about 4.1%. The Fed has also indicated there are further rate cuts ahead. Now, the Fed operates independently of the President and Congress, although the Fed's Board of Governors are appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. Now, if it weren't dependent, it's likely that nearly every president along the way would want to lower rates, gun the money supply, and watch growth numbers rise. We've seen that from President Trump over parts of both his terms as he's pressured the Fed to lower rates. Well, the Fed's dual mandate is to minimize unemployment while keeping prices stable. Inflation numbers are way down from a couple years ago, but still above the Fed's target range. Now, that might make the decision to cut the benchmark rate a little dicey, but this one indicates that the Fed going forward is even more concerned about unemployment or recession than it is inflation. The Fed's rate cut doesn't directly affect your bank mortgage rates or how much your savings account yields, but it definitely puts downward pressure on all those rates. And on Wednesday, we saw several of the nation's top banks already drop their prime rates by a quarter point. According to Reuters, JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America were among those lenders. In one of the more bizarre gun crime stories of the year, a man allegedly opened fire on a medical helicopter as it landed in a pasture in Autauga County, reports AL.com's Carol Robinson. A flight nurse was hit by a ricocheted bullet and sustained a minor, non-life-threatening injury, according to Haynes Life Flight. Volunteer firefighters had set up a landing zone in an open pasture before dawn on Thursday. They and the pilot were able to give a general shooter location to the deputies who were already en route when the helicopter landed. Autauga County Sheriff Mark Harrell said 48-year-old Peter Ellison was quickly taken into custody. He was charged with shooting into an occupied vehicle, and federal charges are pending. The city of Birmingham has an ordinance going into effect on October 1st that allows the city to foreclose on some abandoned or neglected properties, reports AL.com's Greg Garrison. The state recently changed laws so that the city can more quickly foreclose on vacant properties with liens and unpaid fines because of code violations. Often, the city fines an absentee landlord who simply never pays. Councilmember Valerie Abbott said the city spends $3 to $4 million a year maintaining some of these private properties. The plan is for the city to move on properties in which the owner has not paid on a lien for at least 6 months. Well, nothing says Alabama Gulf Coast quite like ice hockey. And I know that's a bit of a stretch, but stay with me on it. With a lot more new residents, especially in Baldwin County, the return of the sport to Mobile might get even more traction than it did back in the 1990s. Locals will remember the Mobile Mystics of the old ECHL. Recall that the team spelled Mystics with a CKS at the end, like my sticks. The ECHL, which also featured the Birmingham Bulls, had some great names. The Louisiana Ice Gators and the Florida Everblades for fans of pun, and the Jacksonville Lizard Kings for fans of the Doors. An expansion team in Mobile for the Southern Professional Hockey League has been announced for the 2027-28 season, reports AL.com's John Sharp. There are some familiar names in the SPHL, including the Bulls and the Huntsville Havoc. Mobile's team will play at the downtown 10,000-seat Civic Center Arena that's currently under construction. Hey, if you haven't yet, please leave us a rating and maybe even a comment on whatever podcast app you use. That's our only charge for Down in Alabama. Well, that and maybe getting somebody else to listen too. I'm biased, but I think it's a particularly good news show to share with the kids who are old enough to hear real news. A little state history and culture is mixed in, and we don't cuss at you like more and more podcast news shows do. Sometimes the news is ugly, but we have to live in the world, I reckon. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in the morning. Until then, come by and see what we're working on anytime you want to on the internet at al.com.